In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a floating shelf with plywood that has an open end on one side to butt up to a wall, open end on the back to butt up to the wall, and a finished end for it to hang in space. These are all mitered together so you don't see any seams. If this is something that interests you, keep watching. Before I even think about cutting any wood, I have to come up with a plan. The overall dimensions of the shelf is 58 inches long, 10 inches deep, 3.5 inches thick. The things that I need to consider are, is the shelf butting up to a wall on both sides, one side, or no sides? In this particular case, the shelf will be butted up to a wall on the left-hand side as well as on the back, and the right side will be floating in space. So we know that that side needs to be finished. Before I head over the table saw, I know that I need two pieces, a top and a bottom, that are 10 inches wide by 58 inches long. I also need a 3.5 inch piece that is also 58 inches long, and another 3.5 inch piece that is 10 inches long. Now I'll likely leave the 3.5 inch pieces a little long and trim them up later in the build. Each of the pieces that we're cutting today will all have a 45-degree miter on them. If you don't have a miter saw that can do this or a table saw, I'm sure you got a friend that can help you out.
Yeah. No.
Well, rookie mistake. My wireless microphone died during this next part. So you may see my hands moving and not really lining up to what I'm talking about.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Now that the parts are all cut to the final dimensions, I'll do a quick test fit to make sure I did exactly what I set out to do. And thankfully my tools did their part and everything was cut exactly how I planned. Now we'll move on to the glue up. You'll see me use some masking tape to help hold the pieces in place. An extra set of hands is always helpful in these awkward glue ups, but today I'm in the shop alone. You'll see me put a generous amount of glue on the miters, ensuring that mainly the outer edge has plenty of glue. Alright, maybe I put too much glue, but since this is a paint grade shelf, I'm not really worried about the squeeze out. I'm going to sand this thing thoroughly once everything is dry. Before I put the top on, I'm going to add some spacers on the inside of the shelf to help with the positioning of the top and added support for the shelf. Once the top is on and aligned, I'll add a few brad nails just to help secure the top, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. little trick I learned from a veteran carpenter was to take the rounded part of a hammer head and push or fold the edges of the miter together. This will ensure that you have an extremely tight joint and no visible seams. In order to make the cleat that the shelf will be attached to, we need to measure the inside thickness of the shelf as well as the length of the pocket. Pro tip, cut the cleat shorter than the overall length of the inside pocket so you have a little room for adjustment.
Okay, putty's all sanded off. Now we're just going to trim up the edges on it. I left the front overhang just a little bit just so I made sure I had enough, and then I have a little overhang on the side as well. So we'll go over to the miter saw, trim that up. All right, now that we've trimmed up those excess pieces on the shelf, saw left a little bit of cleanup to do, so I'll just do a quick sand on the part that's going to go up against the wall, just to make sure it's going to fit nice and flush. Just going to go over with some 220 on the edges. Just mainly want to make sure, one, it's not sharp, and two, the paint has something to adhere to. All right, all good. So you can see shelf, one finished side, back cavity, and this side will go up to the joining wall. Turned out pretty nice. Not bad for a quick build. Again, it is paint grade, so wasn't terribly worried about it fitting exactly perfect, but gotta say it turned out really nice. So we'll get this and set this aside and wait for the painter to come in and paint it, and maybe we'll film when we go do the install. Just to give you a little reference on how this is going to be attached to the wall, this cleat will be attached to the back wall, this cleat to the side wall, okay, something like that. Once those are attached and leveled, then the shelf, you can see, will just slide over top of this, and then we can put some little glue on there, and then pin nail on the top and the bottom to secure it, and then the side piece will slide in like that. So that is it. Pretty simple to do. Definitely a do-it-yourself project. This shelf, the way it was built, maybe not something that everybody will want to tackle, but definitely making floating shelves is not a hard thing to do. So get out there and give her a try.